And welcome to episode 4 of the Real Sharks podcast, Game of Thrones, or House of Dragon, if you want to call it. But we like to give a breakdown every week of the Sunday game that matters, the one and only Game of Thrones. It is I, Rob, your noble host, with his noble knight, Steve.
Ooh.
I should say Kingsguard, huh?
Kingsguard, yeah, dude.
Kingsguard Steve.
As long as you don't
Nice.
dismiss me.
Yeah, let's ring to it,
Yeah.
And Steve's like ill in pain, I'll just be like, cut out that guy's tongue. Steve be like, all right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's start off with this episode, Steve, because it was a doozy for most, probably people who don't know anything about Game of Thrones, probably besides us and the rest of the crew. It was not that shocking to us.
Yeah.
So to start off, we started off on Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra was holding a tour for suitors, denying everyone. She travels back to King's Landing, but Daemon beats her there, where he is told, where, as we told you all, he would present his crown to his brother
Yeah.
Viserys, and that was a great scene. I
That
loved
was a
that
tense
scene.
scene, dude.
That was a great scene. But trouble is brewing with the Sea Snake. He's gonna offer his daughter to the Sea Lord of Bravos. And basically, we start to hear the rumors about Lenore Valerian marrying Rhaenyra. And my audience, this will come to pass in some form. So we saw the difference between Queen Rhaenyra and Queen Alicent, and then Rhaenyra's life. How they both are. They kind of live their lives. I mean, Queen Alicent's kind of almost like a breeding sow, and looked on
Yeah.
even by the king and just kind of brushed off, as people don't really see her as anything but like the queen, and it's almost like you're just like a replacement queen kind of thing. And with
Mhm.
Rhaenyra, she has a lot more openness, which kind of, I would say, as a character, and I must say, I love it, because this is how I would picture her a little bit. I pictured her in the books, very independent, doing her own thing, whether you like it or not, as a reader or an audience member or as a watcher. It really does kind of play on that, because I get really, like, I was kind of annoyed. I was kind of annoyed by her, the way she acted the whole time. But
Yeah.
that was, I guess, that was really the only big thing that happened in this episode.
Yeah.
You know,
Right?
um, Rhaenyra watched a play in King's Landing of every of her subjects who basically hate her. And then Rhaenyra and Daemon, on their night out on the town together, basically visit a brothel and do the Targaryen thing. Which, I hate to say this, and I know you guys everyone's just going to be like, oh, you guys just kind of brushed that off, because that's how the Targaryens are. And
Plus, it was kind of, the scene itself, Rob, was played weirdly, too.
it was interesting, because they basically had, like Luke was talking about in the last episode, how it was already awkward between Queen Alicent and Viserys, and then the whole thing with, like, Daemon and her in the backdrop of this brothel where people are, performing all these different lewd sex acts. It almost like blended it almost naturally.
Yeah.
You sit there and you think about it, they're like, yeah, no, there's nothing cool about that, really. That's Damon, her uncle, and that's his niece, obviously. Um, we saw Damon's uh basically his spy master after him, or uh what would she be called? The white worm, as they
The
call
White
her.
Worm. Yeah, they call him the White Worm.
So it was interesting how she was kind of turning on Damon, because that spy she had was one of hers. She paid him as Damon was sleeping. I don't know if
Yeah.
you caught that, Steve.
Oh, I
So,
caught it, and I caught that terrible accent of hers as well.
yeah. Oh God, yeah. So then, of course, I like this scene too, where the King's Guard come and take Damon into the throne room,
Yeah, throw him.
and yeah, and like, I just love the whole, as he's walking, they just carry him. He's like, "Take your hands off me!" Like that. He's really fighting it. Um, I liked the interaction between him and Viserys was interesting, and of course they brought the dagger from the original Game of Thrones into it, which to me was a little silly, but
Audience
whatever.
just can't help
We'll let them
themselves,
have
man.
their moment. And
Yeah.
of course, the dagger is then revealed. Oh, I should mention, though, of course, as we told you all, Daemon gets exiled again, and this is kind of his life. He's comes back, exiled, comes back, gets exiled. That's how him and Viserys' relationship is basically.
Yep.
And he asked him to wed Rhaenyra to him, which was interesting because that never took place really in the book. It just kind of like happens. It just kind of like they just do it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. What would you think about that, Rob? Like he kind of just says it to him too. He's just like, yeah, I'm not going to deny it. Just give her to me.
right, and he even says, and he's like you have a wife. He's like, but Aegon the Conqueror, we're Targaryens. He basically says that
Yeah.
we're Targaryens too. Um, which I thought was an amazing scene. And I know I'm running the summary. I'm just summarizing this up for what we saw, our audience. We're gonna break down this episode a little more. And then we saw basically Viserys confront Rhaenyra and give her the ridiculous prophecy of why she's important because the dagger has the song of ice and fire.
Oh God, no! They did it again.
You might as well just have George R. R. Martin playing the Rings of Castamere in the back of it there. Seriously. You might as well have. And only our real Thrones fans out there will know what I'm talking about. But we saw basically what I thought was the best scene of the show, though, which was, after Viserys tells Rhaenyra you're going to marry Lionor Valerian, she's like, well, fine, I'll do my duty, but you need to get rid of Sir Otto Hightower.
You do your job as king.
I thought was an incredible back and forth between the two characters. I think Sir Otto is it was good. He is definitely Sir Otto.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely just Viserys in that scene dressing him down while taking the hand of the kingpin off of him. Like, thank you for your service, your crown.
He knew that Alicent was planted in there, and he even says, "I never knew how well calculated it was."
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty interesting how that's seen by Viserys now, because that wasn't he didn't see it in the book. When we read the book, Sir Otto always is just in the backdrop, and always the good guy with the good face. The whole episode, though, overall the shock value of it, which is what it was a shock episode, our audience. That's what Thrones will do to you. So don't get too, they like to do that. They like to throw that extra shock value. We saw it with the Red Wedding. We saw it when Sansa gets raped by Ramsay, and now we're seeing it here. But we also saw, as we told our audience, Rhaenyra and Sir Criston Cole.
Yes,
Have intimacy, or let's just be honest, as we like to call it, sloppy seconds.
maybe though, because you don't really get to see a whole bunch with Daemon Targaryen and her.
Right.
This is straight up.
The tea at the end of the episode. Spoilers, our audience. She does not drink it.
Yeah.
No, she does not.
Maester comes in, drink this tea.
Because as we've explained to you in the beginning, Rhaenyra, she has quite a few kids, and they're not all from the same father. Most of her kids are like from different dads. She got a lot of different baby daddies, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. When is this? Why is it turning into Game of Thrones Maury edition now?
Right. It is. It's like, you are the Valerian father. It really is. But overall, I thought the episode was a good episode. I thought it was a little bit better than the last episode, and I just mean that because the scenes were captured brilliant, like just brilliant.
Yeah.
Of course, the interaction I love again between Viserys and Daemon in the throne room is so good too, because I like how they showed the setup. Because when they knew Daemon was coming, they're like cleaning real quick. They're giving him his crown. They're making him look good. You even see the maid like brushing away all the soot from everyone's feet. I also want to mention too, before I get too far into this, that opening scene, we got to see Blackhaven finally, House Blackwood, which was awesome, and that kid gutted that dude straight up. For that, I actually kind of thought Thrones was going to throw us the curveball and have that kid just like
get killed. Yeah.
And he straight up gutted that dude, and it was interesting because the House Blackwood is really known for warriors. I mean, they're kind of, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, my audience. Tell me if I'm wrong. They are pretty much the last. They're like the last kind of northern family or northern house. They're technically a northern house,
They're Northern
but they're
House.
from far south, like the
Hmm.
further south. They're in the Riverlands, of course, but they pray to the old gods.
Hmm.
That's what's interesting about them. A blood feud too exists between them and another house. It escapes me at the moment, but they are a very interesting house with the Black Crows. Um, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the one of the last hands of the king, and I cannot remember his name. He's the guy who disappeared. He's actually the Raven Beyond the Wall. I think is from House Black Blackhaven. Steve, the
Oh, is he
original.
really?
Yes, yep. Brendan Rivers, the three-eyed Raven, was originally from House Blackwood, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I was so excited to see that kid gut
That
the
kid,
path.
yeah, because you knew like when he stepped up and he was like, he's a kid or whatever. He calls him a cunt, by the way, which was like, dang.
He called him
You know what I mean?
Craven.
Yeah,
Craven, and the
he
kid.
called
That's
him a
why.
craven, and that's what pissed him off. Like when he
What was
said that.
interesting there too, you also had Lord Barros Baratheon. That's who was with her, sitting there with. It's Lord Barros Baratheon was sitting there with her, looking at all the suitors, and he will actually come play into this story a lot more later when he basically spurs Rhaenyra. Spoilers, but like I said, I think it really gives it gives a more a good background to why he really doesn't like her, Steve. I think that was a
Hmm.
really good add on there.
Rather than
So
just the facial expressions like you were
right,
talking about in the previous ones. Yeah.
right. So I thought overall the episode did a lot to kind of build more and more tension, because we even had Queen Alicent confronting Rhaenyra like, you sullied yourself, and she's like, I'm the princess, to question my maidenhead, and my
Yeah.
maidenhood's
I
treason.
swear on
And
my
Rhaenyra
mother's
lied.
name. Yeah.
Rhaenyra lied. And what's
Yeah.
interesting is I actually like this, and I know you knew I would like this, Steve, because it actually makes Rhaenyra more closer to her original character. Rhaenyra is in the story of Game of Thrones. When it comes to Rhaenyra, and spoilers, of course, her brother Aegon II, it's really interesting because there is no one good side. Like, as Rhaenyra kind of strives more for the throne, she gets a little bit more psychotic, I guess you could say. She gets a little bit more like Cersei in a way.
Yeah, like yeah, you're right. Like there's moments where she's straight up ruthless.
Well, of course, when we see
Um,
blood and cheese, remember the
yes.
vengeance of her child dying. That was one thing that happens, of course. Whether they're going to actually have blood and cheese in the story will be interesting.
Yeah. But there's moments where she's like yeah, well, she's totally heartless at one point, but then like there's other moments where she's just like, I'm just gonna dedicate to like ruling, kind of not in like a good way, like Daenerys or anything. She's just like, I just want to rule, but then she kind of gets led
Right.
down the
It's
path
my
where she's like,
place.
it's my place, but then
Right.
she's like, well, if it's my place, then that leads her down the path of like doing some like really messed up things in the books.
Right, for the throne. Because as we saw in the play, when the people of King's Landing are, performing that play, and he's just like, he has a conqueror's name and a cock.
Woo!
Right.
Yeah.
And she goes,
Oh yeah.
slander, boo. She tries to get the crowd on her side. She's like, slander, boo.
Yeah.
And Demon even says, she's like, their cares are not my concern. I don't care about what they have to say. And he's like, you will if you want to rule these people.
Yeah.
And spoilers, our audience, probably one of the biggest spoilers we're going to give you on the show. And if it does really come to pass the way the book has it, the people of King's Landing are the ones who bring down the real House of the Dragon. And I mean that literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a really interesting.
Prepare for that. That's going to be an
Prepare for
interesting
that.
thing if they pull that off.
I'm really, I'm growing more excited for the show, Steve. I really
Yeah.
think they are on the right path.
Mhm.
However, whenever, and you know what, too, and I know you can see it, our audience. I know you can see it, feel it. I know you can. Every single time they put in that prophecy of ice and fire, doesn't it seem forced? Doesn't it seem like it doesn't flow with the rest of the
Yeah.
story? It's almost
Yeah.
like, yeah, all this is going on. Oh, is Rhaenyra and Daemon going to be together? Is Daemon going to be the king? Oh,
Mm.
what about the prophecy?
Yeah,
It
dude.
it
Why do they do it though, man? Why do they have Viserys say it? Why is
right.
he always the one that's like, that dagger is, it was handed down, blah blah. And it's like, I get what you mean, but do they need to learn this from what Game of Thrones did? Have something meaningful and have the object speak for itself. When they have
Interesting
a
that you say
Valerian
that, Steve.
sword, when they have
It's almost like they did a Ring of Power
oh,
move
oh my god,
because
dude,
they put the
right?
knife in the fire, revealing the prophecy.
The prophecy. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that, dude, where there's just gonna be some like ring that has like words on it or
Right,
something. I
right.
mean, they did it right. The knife, he had
Yeah, he
the
did. He
knife
put it in the
in something.
fire.
He's like, if you put it in the fire, you can actually see he
See the
writ his last
songs.
song on it. I'm just like, why are you doing this? Stop! Just let the
Right.
scene go.
You might
You're
as well
doing
have just started doing karaoke with the damn thing and have it be like some kind of like sci-fi microphone at that point because again they lose me every single time we go to this prophecy. And for some of you, our audience, you may like it. For me, it's like you're just trying to write yourself in a good position to basically vindicate your bad writing for that last season. You're
Oh,
gonna
dude, straight up.
you're trying to pull a Ridley Scott is what you're trying to do. You're trying to take what was your classic and basically write a fucking prequel to it. And it's like, nah, none of that mattered.
The
This
whole thing,
matters.
the whole like season thus far, every episode they're gonna do a like we're sorry to the Game of Thrones. Like, all right, this is the episode, dude, that really I'm on board now. I'm like
Yeah,
full on in. I'm like, yeah, all right, you got me. I'm interested in Rhaenyra. I'm interested in all these characters. It's
Damon is
just,
definitely Damon. I feel like
oh yeah,
to me he is definitely the character. I love too when he basically Viserys just kicks his ass in the throne room, and what does he do?
yeah.
He just rolls over and goes back to sleep, and he's like,
Yeah, because he
"Yes,
knew
brother."
like all right, I'll leave type of thing,
Yeah,
which he will, and you're right. I think it's gonna be this. The only thing I'm scared of is what you said earlier in the last episode is please don't make Damon the main like antagonist of the show kind of deal. But I think they're gonna do this thing where, like you said, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Viserys does something. I'm hoping, but yeah, dude, there's just a lot that I'm liking. I like Allison's character a lot more, dude. Where they kind of showed the two things of
it
like the
makes
series.
a better case for what she does later on in the story. What like
Yes.
the way the reason why she kind of pulls a coup in a lot of sense. It really does kind of add on to it. This is what makes the show good is because they're basically writing in between the lines of all the lore, all the events of the novel that George R. R. Martin has written, and basically he's made it to where you can kind of do this. So as we told you, Allison and Rhaenyra really didn't have a relationship in the book. It just says they were friendly at court, but this gives like a whole new meaning for why they hate each other in the end of it all. I mean, it really does. It really shows like wow, how this story is really going to play out.
What do you think about just on last thing on that, where Viserys is finally because it was showing him like being like dumb, he doesn't know anything. People are questioning him, which
He's
is why
smarter
Otto
than he
he's
lets on.
yeah, and then like he totally is like, yeah, you
It's
didn't want my daughter, you wanted the throne, like you did this to
throne,
hurt me, type of thing, and then he
right?
didn't deny it. It's like, yeah, I did.
It's interesting because Viserys in this episode showed, and I always like to put this in perspective for anybody when anybody in a high position or even basically two teams in the end of a main event. It's like they're there for a reason, and Viserys is king for a reason. Yeah, he may be, as we were talking about, not the greatest king, not a he's a lame duck king, but he's still smart. I mean, he's still a Targaryen. He still gets
Yeah.
what he gets the game. I guess that's what we can say. He knows the Game of Thrones. He
Oh,
really does. He know
That Otto Hightower scene makes him he gets the
he
game.
gets it. Yeah, he gets the game. He even tells Otto, "You taught me how to be king. You." He's like, "Well, Your Grace, like Otto's like, "Wow, that's, thank you." And he's like, "But, don't thank me yet, basically."
Yeah, like
He's like,
give me this pin. So like now that we're there, I know you want to talk about this scene, Rob, and getting deeper into it. What do you think about that? Where he just totally goes like, I know that you're, been doing this for since Three Kingdoms now. Like you went through three kings to get to this moment where your grandson is going to be
It's gonna be
ruling.
king,
Like,
yeah.
like how do you feel about that? And then Otto Hightower does not break character. He's like, what? Like, what do you mean? No,
Yeah, because this is where it's interesting because
yeah,
in the book, Sir Otto is just the hand.
yeah,
He doesn't really strive to to gain so much power. He already has the power, but he does want his grandson to be king. This is a fact. He does. And as the show will progress and as this whole story will play out, you will see that he does go to great lengths to actually put his grandson on the throne. However, though, the show presents him as I still think I still think there's more to him because he reminds me of a Tywin kind of character. He's presenting himself as an honorable kind of hand, but he knows what he's doing. I mean, he does. The High Towers know. This is like,
yeah,
their way of getting their own blood on the throne.
yeah,
And I mean, I get what you're saying, Stephen. It is really hard to judge the way Sir Otto's character is from the book because in the book he's always in the backdrop, but he's never like at the forefront of everything like he is
yeah.
in the show.
That's
Like
what's kind of making me weird is like the thing about it, Rob, is like he was talking about the White Worm, about him sending the spies. We don't actually see him doing any of this
right,
underhanded stuff. So you're like,
right,
I don't see it. He's denying it, and he's really like playing it like, what? Like, what do
your
you mean? So
graves, yeah,
it's like, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to sway us as the audience to be like whatever? Because I'm still like you, Rob. I'm like thinking like, okay, this is totally not him in the book. He's not
right.
doing this underhanded thing. But then again, he talks to Allison, and he's just like, you having Aegon the second is like you stop the war right then by
Right.
having a son, right? So like is he playing everyone, even his daughter?
He's almost like it, I don't know. I get what you mean. He's almost like you don't know whether he's acting like the spider, like Varys, doing what's
Yeah,
best for the realm, or doing the best for
or
the
like
High Towers.
Littlefinger. He's like a hybrid.
Yeah, he really is. He's definitely his own, and which I like too, because it is hard to judge which way he's going. I mean, because it's not about the High Towers; it's literally about his grandson. I mean, that's how it is. But don't get us wrong, our audience. He really does push these things. I mean, when push comes to shove, and when the opportunity presents himself to make his grandson king, he jumps on it right there in blood. He jumps. He does it. He goes for it. I mean, he's even him and spoilers. Kristen Cole are like the first guys to be like, well, so when are we gonna crown Aegon? When are we gonna crown our new king? And they go, king? You mean queen?
Yeah,
Slit.
pretty much.
Right. So yeah, Sir Otto is interesting. I really do like his dynamic as a character because I am trying to figure him out whether he is like a Varys doing it for the realm, or you're right, or like a Littlefinger doing it for himself. Is he trying to climb the ladder to power through his grandson, or is he really, really believe that all these things are justifiable because he wants to serve, as he told Viserys. Sometimes a hand has to tell his king, the bad news, but otherwise he's failed him as a
Yeah.
servant.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, straight up, dude. Because I just don't know. I think
Because
maybe they're trying to shove everything into this one character. Because I don't know if you saw the previews for the next episode. They kind of make it apparent what
he's like,
his
raise
intention.
Aegon, yeah,
Raise him. You must raise him to be king. And it's just like, well, there's the attention gone. Like that's what he wants.
right. But it's more subtle in the book. I get what you're saying because Aegon, when he gets older, he's kind of like a playboy when
Yeah,
he first comes to into age. He's actually, I think they actually find him I think he's in like his lover's house or something, or in
yeah.
like
He's
some
like in a
girl he's
place. Yeah, he's like in a
with
place
some
that has
other
like
woman.
yeah. So
So
maybe we're pretty close. You think we're close to that, Rob? You think we're gonna get another
that's
jump?
I actually was just gonna say that there has to be another jump with how fast this is moving. It's gonna be interesting because I think if there is gonna be another jump, it's gonna be Rhaenyra either having a child,
Super
um,
pregnant.
super pregnant or having maybe her second child, because also the other kids have to start to develop on Queen Alicent's side, because
All
Aemon
right.
One Eye, he loses his eye, of course, like at an early age, and it's Rhaenyra's kids that do it, and they're kind of roughly around the same age, so it's there's definitely going to be a time jump here, and I think we'll have some kind of like controversy too on whose kid it is, whether it's maybe even we'll see, spoilers our audience, uh Lionel Valerian already dead at this point, because they do get married and then he kind of disappears, and some people think it's Damon who does it.
Yeah.
Even some people think it's Kristen Cole's kid. It could be Sir Kristen Cole's
Yeah. Kid.
like I said, it's a big, huge Rhaenyra in the. This happens in the book.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about her kids and who's
But it's so
the
sick
dad.
seeing it. Yeah, it's so sick seeing it. They're laying the seeds, and like I said, man, they have a lot of. I don't know if you want to know the names of the upcoming episodes of the
Yeah, let's
show.
go. Let's talk about them.
Yeah,
What
so
are they
we
gonna
already
be?
did them. So we had the first episode was Heirs of the Dragon. Second episode was The Rogue Prince. Third episode was Second of His Name. The episode we're talking about now is King of the Narrow Seas. So the next episode is going to be We Light the Way. Then
We
after
Light the
that is
Way.
going to be The Prince and the Queen. The Princess and the Queen, excuse me. Then it's
So that's actually
Rick.
that's called that's the start of the war. Then the Princess and the Queen. That's the actual name,
Yeah.
the subtitle of the Dance of Dragons. It's
Yeah.
the Dance of Dragons, the Princess and the Queens, the
So we're
black and the
getting there, right?
greens,
Within a
hmm
couple of episodes,
or
it
the red and
seems
the greens, I
like.
believe.
Yeah, the red
No,
and
it's the
green.
black. It's the black and green. Sorry, Bill.
Is it? I thought it was a.
I think it's
Oh.
red and green. I don't know. It could be the color of Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Christmas.
forget. But
Christmas War.
all you really need to know is it's split down the middle, of course, between the two families, and this is where the real civil war began. So I think we are going to be correct, because we were so right in the last episode. Our audience knows it. That's why you're listening to this now.
Yeah.
Um, I think we're going to see another time jump, but I also think we're going to start. I think the war, more importantly, when it really starts to kick off, is going to be a huge chunk of the show.
It looks
And
like
in
it's going to be the
fact,
last two episodes, actually.
I was gonna say, I would even bet, knowing Game of Thrones, they might just save like the start of the war for the next season.
Oh, that's a cliffhanger.
Because look at Viserys too. I mean, we seen it in that scene where he's on top of Queen Alicent, how disgusting and like infected he is. He's already lost 2 fingers. I mean, it's like, dude, quit sitting in the damn chair.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, and he's constantly in it. And every time he's in it, dude, he's looking miserable. When he's out of the chair, dude, he's like jovial. He's like
Right.
with Daemon, he's laughing. He's like, oh, do this, do that. But when he's in the chair, dude, he looks like he's like dying. You know what I
It's
mean?
kind of how it goes in the book too.
Yeah.
God. I'm really excited though for when they actually get to the war, even though I know we're gonna have to wait another year for that to happen.
I know, bro. Like,
Because
why?
they're going what, 3 more episodes?
No, dude, we got like, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They go
5 more episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Or no, it's 5, 6, 7. Because this is 10 episodes.
We
Dude, the
also
last
see
episode is the Black Queen.
The Black Queen. Interesting.
Season
Oh well, that's
finale.
Rhaenyra. Yeah, Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra becomes queen. Well, she queens herself on Dragonstone.
Yeah, queens herself. So that's
There's
the last
also going to
episode.
be two. I want to see too when they introduce, if they introduce the 2 fucking Kingsguard brothers. Remember, they're twins.
Oh,
And they fucking kill themselves. They kill each
Yeah,
other
dude.
because they're on different sides of the war. It's like so stupid.
They're gonna give airtime to those people.
I
That would
don't
be
know.
funny if they did.
That'd be interesting. I mean, it'd be an interesting plot point. I mean, they've made every single like plot point really pretty good. I mean, I thought
So
the
much
play
better.
part was really good. I thought that was a good like seed drop to let everyone know like the people hate her. Like they don't like her either. Like
Convenient that it was going on right when she was down there, but it's good that for moving along the plot, bro.
and I'm still recording this too. It's interesting too because one of the things that I really do get when I read the book, which makes you kind of like I keep kind of like stumbling over Rhaenyra, whether I like, and I keep kind of going back to the book. I keep thinking to myself, you know, it wasn't that I liked Rhaenyra as a character. It was more or less like it was her right to rule, and I was just like, this is the way it should be. This is how
Right.
it should happen. This is what the king wanted, and they go back on that. It was never like, oh, I'm cheering for Aegon or Rhaenyra. It was like, no, Rhaenyra is the rightful queen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the part almost in Game of Thrones with the original one with when Joffrey when Ned takes that note and he's like, I'm gonna rule as regent. Joffrey's not gonna be king, and
Yeah.
basically he's like, no, I'm king.
Fuck no. No, I'm king. I'm
Yeah.
just doing it. Yeah, and I feel like you're so right on that, and I'm hoping it's that because they really have got to go hard, bro. Because Rings of Power right now is sucking hard.
I saw a interesting article on it, and I want to say I thought it was exactly what I said, but I didn't get a chance to publish our part yet. They said the difference. One of the things about Ring of Power that they said they don't like is it's a bunch of different characters stumbling around in a really big, beautiful world, and but most importantly, it's like what I said. He said, but I disagreed on the second part. He said what's most horrific about the show is they said the dialogue. The dialogue is so stiff.
Dude,
and then he went on to say, but Tolkien couldn't write good dialogue anyway. And I was like,
oh my god,
shit. I was like, his dialogue is very poetic, dude. That's why The Lord of the Rings is so good.
Okay.
Like that's why the way he taught, the way the elves talk, it's beautiful in a way. And I just thought, yeah, of course you're not going to get that because Tolkien's dead. I even said that from the get go. You're going to have guys that cannot. You're not going to be able to write like his dialogue. And the dialogue is.
Dude, they fired the Tolkien historian on their show.
Did they giving really?
Them yeah, they fired him because he kept saying like, yeah, this is not going to work, and they're like, well, just get out of here, we'll do our own thing. Bro, I'll just say this, man. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they're already introducing Isildur, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I saw that. That's way too
early, bro. I'm like, what is going on?
These show so far from the first episode I saw, I thought it was good, like the direction they were going. I gotta catch it because I thought
like hobbits.
The idea is just, and I even told I think just switching the ring for seeking Saruman and Morgoth is that's what it is. It's basically them not looking for the ring, them trying to find the evil that exists in the world still. They're looking for the last remnants of it, like the ring. Just switch that out.
They're doing that now, Rob. They're doing the thing where we're in the second age, so they're like totally going, where's Saruman? They're like dropping hints, like he takes many forms, so they're like, oh, is this guy him? Is this guy him?
That's
is he this orc? Is he this? Which is cool, but they're like dropping it horribly, Rob. Like really bad. And just like you said, dude, the world looks great, but the acting sucks.
Yeah.
And the characters, like Isildur already, like what?
Yeah, that's
why.
Weird.
And then the Hobbit scene is so fucking long, bro. Yeah. It's like half the freaking episode, man.
That's funny. All right, man. I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow, okay?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure, bro.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Good episode though. I'll try and get it up by tomorrow.
All right, if you can, no big deal, bro.
No, dude, because we need to, because we're trending on YouTube for these.
Oh yeah. All
right. So yeah, we're at 73 subscribers. We're gonna probably get more Friday.
Well, here we need all hands on deck, man, for the next one.
Right, that's what I'm saying. All right, bro. Talk to you later, man.
All right, man. Later, dude. Yeah.
Yep. So that has been episode 4. Breakdown our audience from your two nobles, Rob and Steve. Call us Nightstiller. Kingsguard, actually.
Kingsguard, yeah.
Kingsguard. Real Sharks and Kingsguard. Coming to you live from 20,000 Leagues of the Sea. And we're saying from Westeros, we'll catch you on the flip side.